I'm talking to one of Black Enterprise's Modern Man 100. I'm breaking into next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Lives. Breaking into.
Hello, you guys out there. Welcome to another edition of Breaking Into here on Black Hollywood Live. I'm your host, James Lott Jr., and I'm so glad to have you guys with me today. As always, I try to bring you the best guest on earth, and I have a man who is doing great things. I am honored to have him on my show. He is successful. He is executive produces TV films and films. He's the CEO of LDI Networks. Like I said, he's one of Black Enterprise's Modern Men 100, which is like, I mean, it's great stuff. Very proud to have him on my show. Louis Ariola, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. Happy to be here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I want to start with just one big question.
Sure.
What does it mean to you being a Black businessman?
I think it's a honor to be put in a situation that allows me to give back to the community, and for me, it is about giving back. Putting opportunities, given situations that allows people to put it to work, being able to let them learn how to put things together. We're actually forming a company called Unleashing Giants, and Unleashing Giants it's an after care program that we allow to kids to learn from the beginning, from getting a script, writing the script, acting, producing it, and then editing, and then premiering the movie.
Wow.
This is the things that being successful as an entrepreneur allows me to build other platforms to teach young people, but not only to teach young people, but to also give jobs to young men as well that's coming up.
I love that name, Unleashing Giants. I think it's a great name.
Yes.
Great name. I like that. I like the fact that, those of us who do move ahead should always try to carry the rest of us, teach us to come together and come up, because it should be not just that one slot. It should be a million slots, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think if we are able to move forward, we need to bring people that's need a hand, bring them up as well.
I like the idea of starting young, because that's where the foundation is. You start with young kids, teaching them how. I've had people on my show who do gardening, who do other things, and they always say you should start young and start to instill in them and show them examples of what they can be. Correct?
Absolutely, and especially the program that we're building is an after-school program. It's right now we're in 30 different schools throughout LA right now.
Wow.
And we're looking to even increase those numbers. But what it allows me, and what I've found out, is if with this program, it allows kids to learn how to write, how to budget, because in the film business you need to create a budget. You need to figure out how to raise that money, but not only, more important is to be able to communicate what you're trying to sell to others. And I think this program that we're doing allows these young kids to look at at not only at a film or an entertainment, but in other avenues of life that they want to go to.
I was just going to say that. This is all value information, just period. I mean,
Absolutely.
These are great skill sets to teach people. Because one of the things that I always say about our community, a lot of times, is that just knowledge. We don't have a lot of knowledge out there on how basic skills of budgets, how to plan, there's little things like that actually are big deals. And how to, like, when you to get a house or do this or a job, or how to present yourself to somebody out there. And I love that you're going to teach all this to the kids out there, how to kind of present themselves.
Yeah, these kids start anywhere from from the third grade on up to junior high school, and then we're trying to get into the high school sections as well. So there's a big plan for us to teach young people to be able to be productive citizens in the community, to be able to not only be given something, but to have to learn to be able to do them themselves. And I really truly believe that it's the most important thing for someone that has success is to teach others, not to give any. Is to teach them what you know.
What's the whole thing of teach them how to fish and they'll eat the rest of their lives kind of thing.
Exactly.
Not just giving them fish and saying here's some fish. It's like no, actually teach them how to do it, and then you can work it out. I mean, the thing about America that is great, we are a land of opportunity. I mean, we really are a land of entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur also, and I have companies and things, and it's one of those things that we can do that in this country. A lot of countries you can't do that. This one we can actually set up things and work from the ground up to build something.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I happen to in my telecommunications company we're contracted in 28 different countries
Wow.
all over the world, and one of the things that I do see is the oppression that and the lack of opportunities that other countries have that we
Yeah.
don't, especially in Africa. But I do a lot in Eritrea, Niger, Zimbabwe,
Wow.
Eastern Africa areas that it's amazing. Unfortunately, they don't have the opportunity that we do in this country.
What was it like for you to go to Africa for the first time? I'm actually curious about that.
You know, it's incredible. It's really, really the most amazing thing to see. The hospitality of the people, the way they welcome you. It's very, very hospitable countries. Different countries. Obviously, in Africa is different, but in general, the people are very hospitable.
I always say, and it's funny that you seem to be the kind of person who kind of agrees with me. I always say we come from culture that's about the village. We come from a culture where we're supposed to stick together. We lift each other up. The elders are respected. We teach the younger people. And I feel like in America, we kind of lost some of that here. And I'm always trying to create it myself and doing shows like this. I get to do shows like this. You're part of my village, Lewis, now, and always part of this village. It's like you're the same way. You want to create that kind of that togetherness here too, in business and otherwise.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree in that family orientation because that's where you learn your values. That's where you learn the loyalty that someone needs to be able to give forward as well.
What do you say? Because you're going to these schools and things. What do you say to people? Some of the kids that are like that feel like there is just no hope. I mean, we turn on the news and there's all kinds of stuff we hear out all the time. What do you say to them?
You know what? My thing is believe in yourself. But don't look at what other people tell you. Don't hear or don't listen to what other people tell you. Do what you want to do. If you love what you do, if you want to do it, the opportunity is here. It's just you have to go out and do it. Learn how to do it and then go do it. And that's what I'll tell everybody. It's don't listen to the negativity. Don't listen. It's because of your environment. You can't move forward. Learn what you would want to do,
Okay,
and then go out and do it.
that's smart. Actually, learn it, master it, learn
Exactly.
it. Yes, and then you can go out there and show people. And and someone out there is going to not be able to deny your talent. Obviously, they'll be like, "Oh my God, yeah, this person knows what they're doing." They're going to have to hire you or have to accept what's going on with you.
And the thing is, one of the things is, and I teach my kids the same thing is, don't initially do it because it's the best paying job.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is if you don't like to do it, then you're never going to be great at it.
Oh, okay.
Do what you want to do first. Listen, figure it out what that is. And some people might not know that initially. They might not understand what they want to do. But what they eventually, when they grow in, they figure fireman, policeman, whatever that might be. Obviously, a policeman might not be in the top
Yes,
list
it
now,
does.
but
Yes.
but in growing up, we had some respect for the police.
Yeah, we did.
Police was respected to become, and you wanted to become that kind of figure. Now, unfortunately, that's been tainted.
Yeah.
But for the most part, do what you want to do, learn it, and then pursue it.
I think it's great advice. It took me 40 years to find my calling, but I know that everything that I did is not a mistake. Obviously, I mean, I had other careers and things, but you're right. I went after the money at first. Well, I came up in the '80s where it was just like money, 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 get the money, get the money, and parents say, you go to college and do this because it's money. And then I learned that not all money is good money. And I was making, I had a job. I was making $100,000 a year plus benefits, and I hated it. My stomach hurt every day. Like literally, it hurt. And so when I quit that job, my stomach stopped hurting. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I'm much happier now than I was then.
Absolutely. I always, when I started my business in telecommunications, I was the vice president of operations for AT&T.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was earning for data centers. I was earning a very, very cushion job, all benefits paid, and I had some money in the bank as well. But I hated my job. I hated
Yes.
going to work every day. So I quit my job to start my business. It took me about 3 years, broke, borrowing money.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I did have, and everybody telling me, "Oh, why don't you get yourself a job?"
Yeah.
But I believed in myself, and today, this year, my company is going to do $400 million in sales.
Let's drop the mic, everybody. Let's just drop the mic. That's it.
So,
Exactly. No, exactly. Just stick it
Believe
out.
in yourself.
I do. I agree with that. You have to be your biggest fan and cheerleader. You have to be.
Absolutely.
Just kind of to do this. I've learned that also. People are always going to tell you what they think. They're going to give you their opinion, which is just that. They're going to tell you, some people, even well-meaning people, because that's the one that I always try to tell people sometimes, it's the ones that you're close to who are well-meaning. Could be a parent, could be a sibling, could be a partner that's going to try to tell you, no, you shouldn't do this, or the reasons why you shouldn't. You have to kind of blank them out too and go, nope, I really believe in this, and do it.
Absolutely. One of them was my wife. She's like, "You better go get yourself a job." And you start sometimes, and there's no doubt, sometimes you start thinking about whether am I doing this or can I do it? And there's doubts that creep up. But if you continue doing the right things, eventually the results will be the right things.
I like that. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey, Brooklyn. My grandmother right now, they keep renaming these areas. When I grew up, it was Park Slope, and now it's called Kensington, where she lives. She's Fort Hamilton Parkway.
Okay.
So I go back there all the time. And I'm just like, she's actually around the corner from actual Prospect Park, basically. But they named it Kensington now. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, I didn't grow up with that over there, but I love Brooklyn. Love Brooklyn. Like that's why I like you. I can tell the New Yorkers.
Yeah. I was born and raised in. I was raised in Flatbush.
Okay, Flatbush. Yes. And did you come from a family where? What kind of family did you come from? Your parents, were they like workers or?
No, actually, I was raised in a single family home.
Okay.
My mother my mother came from Spain, actually.
Wow. Okay.
She was born, and she's actually came here as a flamenco dancer in the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh my God, how fun!
Yeah. So, and then she met my dad, and and then obviously my dad was actually a professor, and he left when I was 5 years old, but my mom worked hard, different jobs, and I was, we were good enough kids that we were listening to my mom. Obviously, we got a little bit of trouble, but for the most part, I knew in my heart that the street life wasn't the right way.
Perfect.
And so
Why do you think? Why do you think you didn't? 'Cause same. I grew up in South Central here in LA, and then I didn't succumb to it either. What do you think it was about you that you didn't succumb to that? That you knew that was the wrong thing?
it was my association. Unfortunately, I used to play sports,
Okay.
and
Okay.
the kids that my association wasn't the association that was doing we were looking to play ball and better ourselves. I think association is important.
Yes.
Understanding your values that's being taught at home. My mom always taught us the right values, making sure that who we associate ourselves is going to better us, not lower us.
That is folks out there. That is a great message. Who you surround yourself with actually really makes a difference. It makes a big difference. Because that was me too. Same thing. I knew the gangbangers. I knew all the folks who were doing all the stuff, and even some of them I grew up with and were kind of friendly with, but I didn't hang out with them enough that I wanted to be part of that.
Right.
And it kept me going. So then did you go to school after that? After high school, go off to do all this?
So I went to I was in the Marine Corps from
okay.
high school. Went
Okay.
to the Marine Corps, and I learned my telecommunications in the Marine Corps. I did
wow.
8 years in the Marine Corps, and then when I got out in 1988 from Marine Corps, I went. And I really didn't know what I really wanted to do at that time.
Yeah.
And it was by a fluke that I met a friend of mine that was in the Marine Corps with me, who worked at Pac Bell back in the day.
Oh, Pac Bell, that's right.
And I started, the first commercial job that I had working in telecommunications. And from there, Pac Bell got bought out by SBC, got bought, and then AT&T bought them out. Worked for AT&T, and in 2001 I started my own business.
Okay, so now explain to folks out there just the basic terms of what telecommunications is.
So what we do is and specifically my job, is we do voice termination. So when someone calls, makes a phone call today, there's a bunch of networks or satellite connections that we put together that goes to, let's say, an international call goes to Zimbabwe.
Okay.
We connect. We're the conduit from the U.S. From, let's say, a Verizon into the country into Zimbabwe, which the terminating carrier over there is Liquid.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Now, why telecommunications for you? What attracted it to you that you have got into it and stuck with it?
The telecommunications was something. How it grew. I learned. I'm a network engineer.
Okay.
I have a degree in network engineering. So, and I actually got the degree in the military.
Wow. Good. Okay.
When I came out, I learned the evolution of data that is today. Before, when I got out, it wasn't really, data wasn't what we have, the internet or any of that.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
But I saw the evolution of data, of where we're at today. But the VoIP calls, or what we do before, was actually created for the military, for the soldiers on the field to be able to, instead of using the big old rucksack with the antenna that you saw in the movies.
Yeah.
Well, now, back then in the 70s and early 80s, they had these helmets that the guy from the central office was able to communicate to the soldiers on the field.
Wow.
And that's how it was evolved, and then went to the sector. But the private sector didn't have the infrastructure to be able to facilitate the VoIP calls. Yeah. Today, 90% of the calls are done through VoIP, and it's all done through satellite communications, which is what I do.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I was going to ask you, too, what did the military bring to you?
It's brought me structure, though. Okay. Military it taught me how to work with people. Okay. It taught me how to, it gave me a sense of structure and being able to if I had a subordinate or if I had a head, it allowed me to work within that chain of command. So I was able to then learn how to manage people as
yes,
well as
okay.
to be managed.
That's actually a good quality to have. Both good qualities to have. Actually, know how to manage people and be managed. That's a great thing, actually, because you can navigate the business world.
Absolutely.
God, that's great. And so the military, you got the telecommunications. I mean, so you've been doing this. You said 2001 you started. But what made you decide to start your own business? Like that's something that's a whole other animal. It's a whole bunch of stuff. You're like, okay, now I'm going to do this on my own and head something.
Yes. So the and a lot of people thought I was kind of
That's
crazy.
a lot of work. I know. Oh my God.
It, I just did not like the way the structure when AT&T came in, and I felt like I can do it on my own better.
Okay.
Call me crazy, what I at that time people did.
I'm sure.
But I hated going to work. I didn't like my boss at the time.
I understand.
And it was more of, okay, if you put your money where your mouth is, and I did.
You sure did. You sure did.
It took me 2.5 to 3 years to get it off the ground, but I did.
My company took about 2, 3.5, 3 years too. I've heard that's kind of an average for some certain industries. It takes 2 or 3 years to kind of work it out to a point where it's actually working.
Yeah.
Kind of happens. And in that well, I want to know in that 2.5, 3 years as you were going through it, was there ever a time you were like, never mind? Kind of thing, or you just like, I'm going to keep pushing through. I'm just going to keep doing this.
There's many days that you walk up and then once you see your bank account drain,
yes.
Your wife asking you how we're going to pay this bill, and people are saying and having job offers.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Given to, hey, we got this job offer, and declining it. You start doubting yourself, but I just knew I was doing all the right things.
Yeah.
I did got all myself in front of the right people.
Mm-hmm.
I had the right networks. I just needed a break, and I got it. I remember it was a gentleman from Guatemala. We hit it off, and we did the interconnection with the antennas that we normally do, and then we had the right equipment. I got the funding for the business that we needed to get, and the rest is history. I mean, after the third year, my business grew about 75%.
Oh my God!
After that, it grew up. It started growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, I think you're also part of the right place, right time too. Just time period.
Absolutely, yeah. It does. Sometimes in order to get the right break, it is the right place, the right time.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the other part of what you do. Basically, is film and film production.
Yes.
So how'd you get into that at first? What was like? Because you've done. Let me read a couple of things you've done: A Weekend with the Family, Will to Love, and the upcoming Only for One Night. Only for One Night. So how'd you get into film production?
So I have some good friends that are celebrities. One of them is Marcus Houston.
Okay.
Chris Stokes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So Chris Stokes, Marcus Houston are a good friend of mine. They came over. They wanted to shoot a movie in my house. Okay. That's how it started. So I said, okay, make sure that gets all cleaned up. My house doesn't get all messed up. So they came, and then they sat down and started telling me about the business, and they needed some funding and they needed some cash, and I said, okay, no problem. Well, show me the business. Okay. And I thought about it, and we got back and forth, and we started with The Weekend with the Family. Will to Love actually was the first one.
Okay.
And then we started doing Weekend with the Family, Only for One Night. And now we've done about 3 more.
Oh, very good.
We actually just finished the movie last week. Actually Sunday.
Oh wow.
We finished. So that's another one that's coming out. And BET is really the one that we just premiered September 3rd, Only for One Night. My understanding is that it was the #1 rating on BET for that weekend.
Good, congratulations.
Thank you.
Getting into the film industry, any apprehension?
I've heard so many horror stories about the film.
Yes.
But in business, one of the things that I did learn in my telecom company is to be able to have checklists. And I went down the checklist to making sure that certain things were made sense to me.
Okay, you did. Okay. Okay.
And it did. And there's always a safety net, and there's certain budgets that I won't go over unless there's a guarantee in distribution. And they've been able, so far, it's been a very successful joint venture with them.
Okay, so you approach it like a business, of course, as you should. You have a checklist of things you go through, a certain amount of budgeting you will not go over, and I'm sure there's other things too, of course. So that's how you looked at it as, and that's actually good advice for just anything when you want to do anything with any joint ventures with anybody. I'm sure you should have a checklist of things that you will and will not do.
Absolutely, and there's certain also a certain type of movie I will not do. I believe that in clean entertainment.
Okay.
I believe in that. The entertainment should be able to be viewed by anyone.
Yes.
So I'm very firm on that as well.
That's my next question was like, is there anything in entertainment you wouldn't like? Because they could throw some stuff at you like, we're going to do this and lots of violence and nudity and cursing, and I was like, but you're like, no, I have a limit of what I will back.
Absolutely. And there is there's a definitely something that any nudity I will not do, any kind of violence, any even foul language. Today with the right writers, you can make someone's emotions rise or with just the acting, or just with the certain words that you use without using foul language. You can get your point across and portrayed very, very easily. Well, but the movies that we've been doing lately is kind of comedy, romantic comedy.
Okay.
Not a lot of thinking involved, in entertainment.
Well, you're saying something that I do a after show here on our sister network, AfterBuzz TV, for a show called When Calls the Heart. And it's Michael Landon Jr., because you've heard of Michael Landon, of course, from stuff. So that they do these shows where on Hallmark Channel, which is very much family friendly. And what we're finding, there's an audience out there that's craving regular just entertainment without a lot of craziness.
Absolutely. And there is definitely, and you won't believe it how many people come up and say, "Oh, that I really liked it. And you know what? I liked it because it didn't have this, or it didn't show that." I believe that there is a certain structure in movies or certain void of cleanliness that's in the entertainment today. Today, entertainment, they're sending so much filth, I believe, violence and drugs and all that, and glamorizing as opposed to really cleaning it up and being wholesome entertainment.
I agree, and like you said, programs where you, the kids, the grandkids, grandma, can all sit at the same time, watch it, still go through the emotions, still, have happy moments, sad moments, but it's not like you're cringing because now here comes the sex scene, or here comes the excessive cussing, or here we're gonna blow the person's brains out. I mean, it's kind of like, especially on TV, especially, it's kind of nice to see regular, just straight up. Like when I was a kid, we had regular programming. We saw just regular, there was just stuff on TV that wasn't bad or anything. But I think it's really interesting that nowadays you just mirrored it again for me. There's an audience that really wants it, and if your show is number one, that makes sense. There it is.
Yeah,
you build, they will come. Obviously,
absolutely, and the networks really enjoy that as well. Yeah. It doesn't we can be number one without the graphics. Yes. And so there's certain networks that we won't go to, certain networks that we stay within our sweet spot, I guess, if you want to say.
Yes.
And and they're we're happy with that as
That's
well.
great. That's so great that you get to diversify yourself. Okay, so you know, we're a little older. Well, I'm not going to say our ages. We're older gentlemen. Do you find work and work ethic, is it changing for you? Do you see it? Does it feel different for you these days as you get a little older?
Yeah, you know, it does.
I agree. I totally agree.
It definitely does. And unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of the how, you know, I'll give you an example. One of the things that I find that's changing is customer service.
Yes.
And people, the customer service, you pick up the phone, you're trying to get, and they're not the same customer service. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to get you off the phone
Yes.
and go to the next one.
Yes.
And that same mentality, I see it in different aspects, in whether in retail, whether in you know, customer service over the phone,
Food service sometimes.
food service,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the work ethic is not there. And everybody expects to be, you know, especially the younger ones. Sometimes they expect something there, or they're entitled for something when they really don't have that. They shouldn't be entitled to get it. My kids, you know, they were raised, you know, privileged,
Yes.
but one of the things that I've told them is, and show them, they never, you know, while their friends got brand new cars, they didn't.
Got it.
They had to pay for the insurance. They had to pay something for that car, because my thoughts is I want you to understand that you have a bill now, or there's something that you have to put in for this car that they have. I want them to learn the value of a dollar. Today, both of my daughters are independent. My youngest one is 21 years old. My oldest one is 32, and all three, and my middle is 30, and all three of them are independent, well off in their careers. And they're just because they understand the value of a dollar, and they understand what it takes to earn it.
First of all, you look too young to be having 32-year-old children. I'm a grandfather myself, so I know how that is. So I'm like, it's kind of crazy. It's like, we're too young for this kind of stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're grown women. But it's great that your daughters, especially, because, you know, for women, that they're out there independent, they're strong, and making it for themselves. That's great.
Yes, and it comes again. It goes back to the values at home, and teaching them the right values. And I see a lot of young kids today; they don't have those things.
No, they don't.
They're expected. They're entitled. They think it's entitled to them. That you need to give it to them.
How did you balance entrepreneurship and raising your children?
You know what? I have that credit is got to be given to my wife. My wife is one of my strongest backbones. We've been, you know, this year we're going to be married. We're going on 30 years.
Congratulations.
And I'm extremely, extremely fortunate to find someone that supports me, that balances me. It helps, you know, when I'm not there, my wife picked up you know, because I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
So my wife was able to be there for me to help with the kids, and, you know, and then spend as much quality time. It wasn't necessarily the quantity.
Got it.
But when we did, we spent it together.
So very much a team effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely team effort.
And I tell people that in personal life, you have to have a team, just like business. You got to find a good team to make things run. That's so exciting. What keeps you grounded these days as your business keeps growing and you're more success? How do you stay Lewis from Flatbush?
You know, it's family. It really is. It's, you know, it's family. It's the believe in God. You know, I believe in I'm a very religious person. So I don't allow this success that I have to get to me.
Yeah.
You know, and the more I have is the more I want to give back.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
I love hearing that because my motto on my show here is lift each other up, share knowledge, and pay it forward. And that's always my thing in my personal life too. I try to do the same thing because, again, I'm trying to show people, and that's why folks like you on my show that exemplify that, but also to show that we can, as people of color, we can work together. And that there are people out there who are trying to assist others, people of color. And we're trying to help each other out. So we make this nation strong and our community strong.
Absolutely. I think that's the key is, if each one of us would give a hand to the one that needs help, then a lot of us will be up.
I agree. Now, what is it like being Black Enterprise's one of the Modern Man 100? What was that like? Did you like the attention? Was it weird? Was it crazy?
It was an honor. And, using that platform to be able to express, certain qualities that I might be able to give to someone who might be able to read it, it's definitely an honor. For me, it was an honor to be able to, given that
platform.
Platform.
Yeah,
right.
platform of some sorts. It was a great article. I did read it. Great pictures of you. Nice picture of you also. Good stylist. So it's good. Which is very important for us, so we look good out there. Okay, so I asked my guests the same two questions, and my viewers out there know I don't prep them at all. These questions I ask them, here on the spot because I want the most real, honest, current answer that you have. It's the same two questions about language. Lewis, I know you understand this, that language to me is very important on how you view yourself, view others. It can keep you back, it can hold you back, it also propel you forward. My first question to you is, sir, what is one word in the English language that you think we should never say?
For me, I never use any derogatory word. I don't use the N word for sure.
Okay.
And I don't use the word F.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Now, the reverse of that, what is one word you think we should say more of in our vocabulary?
I think we can say more love.
Yeah. It's very underrated. It's a word that we just don't say enough or take for granted sometimes, I think.
Yeah. If I thought about it, the opposite of that, I would be less word is hate.
Yeah.
So I would not use the word hate, because in reality, if we use for someone to really use the word hate, it's got to be something deep and negative inside you.
Yes, and sometimes the word, like kids will say, "I hate you." It's like, you don't hate me, obviously. You're just saying it to hurt me on some level.
Right.
It's not. So it's not. You actually love me, and you're upset. You're upset with whatever. Especially when I have kids, I would say you can't do that. I hate you. Well, no, you don't. You're just upset. I won't let you do what you want to do.
Right.
But you still love me, obviously. So I agree. Love and hate are kind of the reverse of each other, but they're all under the same umbrella of love, basically. I think.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Lewis,
what I don't like is how people use the N word in describing each other. I hate that.
Same here. Same here. And I think it's a generational thing too, because it's like our generation really does get that. Like we're not. It's the ones after us that we're reclaiming whatever. I mean, to me, it just seems like it has a negative connotation no matter if it ends in ER or GA. It's still a negative connotation that we're putting out to the universe, and it affects all races when we say it.
Absolutely.
I've never used that word to describe myself or my friends. I've never done that.
All right.
So I kind of agree with you on that. Sir, thank you so much for being on my show.
It was an absolute pleasure, and I really was honored, and I appreciate the time that I've been here.
Thank you so much. You are doing great things, folks. That was Louis Arreola. He's doing great things, and hopefully we'll talk in the future soon. I'm looking forward to more success with your stuff.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you guys, that was Louis Arreola, and he's a great guy, and I'm just so happy that he came on my program here on Black Hollywood Live. I try to bring you guys a very diverse, very, very diverse amount of guests here. Stay tuned. I have another Breaking Into coming up soon with Robert G. Here's the next episode there. You can follow us on our Breaking Into page on Facebook. That's Breaking Into. And then you can follow me at James Lott Jr. on all other social media platforms using the hashtag Breaking Into. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.